Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 5th annual Juneteenth celebration of Newburyport. On behalf of Newburyport's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Alliance, welcome. Once again, we join together as a community to commemorate the emancipation of enslaved African Americans and the historic day on June 19th, 1865, when the order for freedom reached the state of Texas. Yay! We are honored to welcome our distinguished presenters for today's program. Professor Kabria Baumgartner, Mayor Sean Reardon, youth poets Tula Sullivan and Mila Baptiste, Reverend Rebecca Bryan, Sid Rashk, and a special performance by the Rope Burners Double Dutch team from Boston. Let's hear it for them. They drove really far. It took them an hour and a half to get here, so thank you. Our keynote speaker today is Kabria Baumgartner, Dean's Associate Professor of History and African Studies at Northeastern University, and a co-founder of the Newburyport Black History Initiative. She is the author of the award-winning book, In Pursuit of Knowledge: Black Women and Educational Activism in Antebellum America, and has collaborated with numerous historical societies and organizations throughout New England, including the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire, Old North Illuminated, Marblehead Museum, and the Essex National Heritage Area. Please welcome Dr. Kabria Baumgartner.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. Happy Juneteenth. Thank you to the YWCA and the City of Newburyport staff and volunteers for planning this wonderful event. And a special shout out to Amanda Bradbury. I'm not sure where she is, but she played an outsized role in organizing this Juneteenth flag raising ceremony. I'm honored to share some reflections with all of you about the history of this holiday and what it means, especially now as a community to celebrate. Juneteenth is now a federal holiday, established so in 2021, but it has been celebrated for nearly 160 years. In many ways, the first celebration occurred on June 19, 1865, when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, received word that freedom had finally come. Union General Gordon Granger issued his General Order No. 3, freeing all enslaved people in Texas. His order declared, quote, an equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves. This was a monumental victory. And it's no wonder that this moment remained etched in the hearts and minds of African Americans in Texas. And it became a prominent celebration across the South in years following the Civil War. At first, newspapers referred to the holiday as a freedom celebration or as the Day of Deliverance. But African Americans called it Juneteenth, and then local newspapers in Texas and other states soon picked up that name. So Juneteenth celebrations have always been dynamic, energetic, and we will see some of that today. It doesn't matter if it's storming outside, overcast, sunny, or very hot, but we find a way to honor this day, to honor those who have lived and died under slavery, to commemorate the abolition of slavery in the United States, and to remember the promise and principles on which the United States was founded. Now, African Americans have a long tradition of celebrating emancipation in different regions of the United States before 1865. And so I just want to share with you a couple of those celebrations. In the 1810s and 1820s, African Americans hosted annual Election Day celebrations where they feasted and danced and sang and took in the sounds of the fiddle and the drum. Such a celebration occurred right here in Newburyport. In fact, the Newburyport Black History Initiative, of which Sid Raschke is a member, and Jordy Vining, we all installed the first sign on the rail trail telling the story of Election Day. And then in the 1830s, there was another celebration, the West India Emancipation Day, held on the 1st of August. African Americans in this area, from Boston and Lynn, marked the day in 1833 when Britain's legislative assemblies passed the Slavery Abolition Act, and emancipation came to enslaved people in the British West Indies. And then in the 1860s, when President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, African Americans subsequently marked that anniversary. And so there's one word that comes up across all these celebrations, whether it's the 1810s, the 1830s, or the 1860s, and that word is Jubilee. Jubilee is defined as a special celebration often associated with joy, restoration, and renewal. So in many ways, June 19th, 1865 was the ultimate Jubilee. Felix Haywood, who was once enslaved in Texas, recalled a childhood moment when he heard the war had ended. He said, quote, "We were all walking on golden clouds. We felt like heroes, and nobody had made us that way but ourselves." Felix's words paint a brilliant picture that conveys Black self-determination, faith, and Jubilee. 3 years later, in June of 1868, African Americans in Austin, Texas came together to commemorate Granger's Order. That's 3 years after the end of the Civil War. There was a barbecue and a convention with speakers, and one newspaper described the celebration, noting that African Americans had arrived in carriages, buggies, wagons, and on horseback. They were all well-dressed. The women looked neat, without any display of finery. Good humor and contentment beamed from every countenance. In all, 2,000 people had attended that ceremony. Again, 3 years after the end of the Civil War. And there would be many more celebrations, many more Juneteenth celebrations over the decades. In June of 1891, a large crowd of African Americans in Cold Springs, Texas, marched through the streets, not once, but several times during their Juneteenth celebration. African Americans took up public space, and they asserted freedom and the freedom of their ancestors. And so you might be wondering, how did these local celebrations in Texas spread to other communities and across borders to surrounding states and eventually become a national holiday? Well, I'll answer that question. The vast majority of African Americans lived in the South, right? On the eve of the Civil War, that number was around 4 million. And so during the Great Migration from the 1910s to the 1960s, millions of African Americans moved out of the South to the North and to the West. And they took their holiday with them. Juneteenth was the only emancipation celebration they knew. And they brought that tradition to towns and cities like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Los Angeles, California, which was my hometown, but now Newburyport is. And there are many wonderful communities and continuities across these events. Food, honest conversation, dialogue, energetic entertainment, laughter, joy, and activism. By the mid-20th century, Juneteenth celebrations had provided a space to organize for civil rights. In 1968, Martin Luther King Jr.'s Poor People's Campaign held a Juneteenth Solidarity Day in Washington, D.C. that drew 50,000 people. This event linked the holiday to the civil rights struggle and the broader goal of economic justice. These celebrations also offered an opportunity to admire and appreciate African American culture and history. So in 1977, the first annual Juneteenth Blues Spectacular was held in Texas to recognize the blues as a distinct African American musical form. And then in 1975, the Juneteenth celebration in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, drew 50,000 people who celebrated with a feast, music, and lectures. With such large gatherings, whether it's in DC or Milwaukee, Juneteenth played a crucial role in forming collective memory and a shared sense of identity. So recall Granger's order, right, in 1865 in Galveston. His order affirmed equality. It affirmed Black rights. The order did not just define freedom, as if to say, you are free, but it declared that African Americans could exercise their freedom, like the freedom of movement, to march down the street, to own a home, to care for your family, to care for your children, and to keep them safe. And so African Americans held on to this early claim to civil rights that Granger had outlined, and they carried it with them to every single Juneteenth celebration. And after all, this was the promise of the United States, outlined as such in the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. African Americans, like other marginalized groups, have experienced the negative consequences of our imperfect democracy. They've experienced the failure of the United States to live up to its principles. And yet, as poet Claude McKay wrote in a stinging sonnet entitled America, although she feeds me bread of bitterness and sinks into my throat her tiger's tooth, stealing my breath of life, I will confess, I love this cultured hell that tests my youth. What McKay captured so well was this love-hate relationship with the nation of his birth, an abiding love for what America promises to be, and a deep anger and resentment when those promises remain unfulfilled. So as political theorist Robert Martin has argued, a burden falls on every generation to redeem their democracy. We must all collectively participate in building and rebuilding, in shaping and reshaping our democracy, or we risk having a version of it imposed on us. So we all have a role to play and a civic duty to take on. So those people who were emancipated on June 19th, 1865, the crowds that assembled and celebrated a few years later, those who marched in parades in Texas, those who participated in Martin Luther King Jr.'s Juneteenth Solidarity Day, and those 10,000 African Americans or 50,000 African Americans in Milwaukee, they are the reason that Juneteenth is a national holiday. And we carry their legacy as we assemble here together. Celebrating Juneteenth, especially amid increased attacks on Black history, reminds us that there is no such thing as linear progress toward freedom. There have been false starts and setbacks, one step forward, two steps back. There's been violence and discrimination. A victory today may be followed by a defeat tomorrow. And even still, we hold on to moments of happiness, of remembrance, of honor, and of deep pride. So for me, Juneteenth is a day of joy and resistance, resilience, and resurgence, rising again, becoming stronger for the present and for the future. Thank you, and happy Juneteenth.
Thank you, Kabria. I love that. Hold on to moments of happiness. I think we all need a little bit of that right now, huh? Okay. Next, we have two amazing youth poets from the Newburyport High School's Writing Out Racism class, Tula Sullivan and Mila Baptiste.
Hey there, I'm Tula. I just want to say this is my third Juneteenth speaking. I love doing it. Oh, louder? Okay, I got you. This is my third Juneteenth here. I'm happy to come back and speak. This is a beautiful holiday, celebrating the freedom that we have gained over the past couple centuries, and it's a reminder every year of the progress we still have to make. And I just know that we're only as strong as our most vulnerable members, and I hope that we can take the love and power that we have today at this event and extend it to the immigrants in this country that are being persecuted unjustly by our federal government. So I just hope that we really can embrace that community, and thank you for hearing me today. A great tree grows here. We call her liberation. She was planted in this nation many years ago, a single Black seed in a place far from home, our history. Every freedom ride, every protest song has made roots here strong. No storm can shake her, no wind can knock her down. When nurtured with empathy, watered with reparations, reconciliation buds, she bears fruit enough to feed us all. Now, there is nourishment for everyone growing from this tree, one branch for land back, one for livable wages. There, a lantern hangs to guide ripped apart families home. Another branch grows freedom from birth. A few cradle a treehouse, sheltering young people with nowhere to go. Their love has been outlawed. They all find their home here. We were there when this tree was first planted in rocky soil. We have seen how she has been weathered by hatred, struck by bolts of prejudice, how they have tried to chop her down time and time again. They have not won yet. Still, liberation grows, feeding our people, shading them from tyranny, leaves outstretched to the sky. We all must take care of her now. We all must take care of each other. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mila Baptiste, and this. Sorry. Hi, I'm Mila Baptiste, and
Right.
okay. I'm Mila Baptiste, and this is my poem. I so clearly right in front of you. Yet you take an eraser, one for big mistakes, one for elementary school students, and try to get rid of me. A frantic push and pull, the putrid pink plastic shedding its skin as you try to erase your guilt for a system that you created. Try to erase my pain, my scars, like a mother's thumb swiping away dirt on skin, swiping away anything that isn't really clean. Shining white and bright, your diamonds have blood on them. Your cotton has blood on it. Your scalpel holds my blood. So I stand here, not quite white and bright, but no longer dirty. My leftover bones as stripped clean as the pages of your new history books. From now on, our history will be seen as an open and shut case. Above, there may be a place, those famed pearly gates where we truly escape from hate. But beneath that, where we stand, people will cite those same words for hate. Steal my tongue as if gluttony is their only commandment, because I am only wanted once shackled by servitude, only remembered once silenced. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now please welcome our Mayor, Sean Reardon, to deliver the city's Juneteenth proclamation.
Would you want to wait
No.
until? Okay. Okay. All right, well, thank you everyone for being here today. Happy Juneteenth. I'm thrilled we have so many people out today. Big thank you to the DEI Alliance for putting this day together. Also our partners at the YWCA who have a lot of events going on later today as well. This is a special day to celebrate. Thank you to Dr. Baumgartner. I love listening to you. It doesn't matter what the topic is, but just so thankful for you to be here today and for share that history with us. There are some special guests here too. I just want to make sure I think Representative Shan just had to leave, but Representative Don Shan was here. I see Senator Bruce Tarr. I saw Ward 4 Councilor Ben Harmon. I saw at-large Councilor Connie Preston. I saw school committee member Brian Callahan, I think, in the crowd. And also I just want to recognize former Mayor Donna Holliday for being here as well. It's a sticky day, but I really appreciate everyone coming out and being here for this important event. So I do have a proclamation to read, and then we're going to do a few more things, and then we'll come back and we'll raise the flag. Oh, I also want to have a special shout out to my man, Will Nelson, for providing the music. We haven't heard him yet, but we can't wait to hear you in a little bit, Will. All right, so here we go. Whereas, that's right, let's give Will a hand for being down here. All right, whereas on June 19, 1865, over 2 years after the issuing of the Emancipation Proclamation, the enslaved peoples of Galveston, Texas received the word that they were now free. And whereas Juneteenth was first celebrated in Texas in 1866 and has been observed in communities across the nation since to mark the emancipation of enslaved peoples, and whereas the city of Newburyport honors its history as home to leaders in the abolitionist movement, but also remembers its complicity in slavery and commerce tied to the slave trade, and is now committed to furthering the values of justice and equity, and whereas the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act was signed into law on June 2021, making it the nation's newest federal holiday. And whereas the Newburyport Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Alliance has worked with the greater community to mark Juneteenth as a day to celebrate, to learn, and to act. And whereas on this day, as in cities and towns across the nation, people of all races and nationalities and religions join in community to acknowledge the pain caused by slavery and its legacy that remains with us today, including the systemic impact of racial injustice in the United States. Juneteenth is a day to reflect on how to recommit ourselves to our shared goals of creating a more just and equitable society. Now, therefore, I, Sean R. Reardon, Mayor of the great city of Newburyport, do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2025, Juneteenth Independence Day. I urge all residents to celebrate the holiday, learn more about its history and significance, and take action by finding ways to further justice and equity in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, now we will. Reverend Rebecca, Senior Minister at the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist Congregation, will now offer an interfaith prayer. Please welcome her.
What a jubilee. Thank you so much. There's always more to learn and celebrate. And what a day when we walk into businesses and they're closed, when I stand in church and no one is there, because we are celebrating a day that needs to be celebrated and that has become a federal holiday. What a day. And just a note on a personal privilege for FRSUU, whose steeples are relit, by the way, the lights are lit again. We have a history that is both beautiful and, of course, has its own marks to be made reparations for. So prior to the day that we're hearing about and the freedom that was so importantly acknowledged and granted, there was a minister of our congregation for 2 years who stood in front of the congregation and said, that slavery is wrong, enslaved people should be free, and I will speak of this every time I am at the pulpit until it is true. He was promptly voted out. So all of us have our histories that we need to own and that we need to do all that we can. So I stand here for our history. And before I offer a prayer, I wanted to speak for a moment. We'll be hearing Lift Every Voice and Sing, and perhaps as important as prayers is education and learning and action. I wanted to take a moment to reflect upon why Lift Every Voice and Sing is musically, textually, and historically better than the U.S. current national anthem, and how white rage tries to control, white rage is trying to control who America is. The Star-Spangled Banner is adapted from a poem entitled Defense of Fort McHenry, written by Francis Scott Key. Francis Scott Key wrote this after an attack by British ships during the War of 1812. He was the son of a wealthy plantation family. He bought his first enslaved person in 1800 when he was 21 years old. And by the time he wrote this poem, he personally owned 6 enslaved Africans. Something is wrong that this is our national anthem. Professionally, he defended several enslavers seeking to reclaim people who fled from captivity. Even the anthem itself makes his values clear. In the 3rd verse, he triumphantly proclaims, "No refuge could save the hireling or the slave." In case the audience for this anthem is in doubt, the final verse with proclamations says, "We stand at last where the white gleam of our bright star is cast." Crucially, this song does not dwell exclusively on our history, but calls the listener to face the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us fight on until victory is won. What fight and what victory are we trying to achieve? So this focus on completing America's unfinished work of liberation is why the song became a staple of the civil rights movement. We're now talking about Lift Every Voice and Sing. Folks organizing the Montgomery bus boycott sang it during meetings. Dr. King quoted its lyrics in its speeches. After King was assassinated, the Time magazine reported that a crowd in Roxbury, Massachusetts sang this song, as we will hear our young musicians, singers, poets sing. So, just as Black freedom fighters demanded this country give the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that has been not denied to all people, Black people, the Black national anthem testifies to the collective power. So as we prepare ourselves to hear and sing Lift Every Voice and Sing, I wanted to take an equal moment to share why this is musically, textually, and historically better than our current national anthem, and again, how white rage tries to control who America is. Bear with me. Okay, Lift Every Voice and Sing was written by NAACP leader Samuel Weldon Johnson in 1900, was put to music by his brother James. Johnson wrote this song for the segregated school where he served as principal, to give children something they would feel proud singing. Quickly, it spread throughout Black communities, and people embraced the lyrics, which speaks both to the pain and the pride of being a Black American. The tension between our past and future promise brims through every verse, like, we have come over a way that with tears have been watered, held in balance, with proclamations that, oh my goodness, I'm on the wrong pages, that a new day is real. So realizing justice and equality for all people, the song proclaims what it means to be true to our God, true to our native land. This in contrast with a song written by an enslaver who dreamed of prosperity for free men. There's no doubt over which song actually includes everyone. Now, I'll offer a prayer. But I encourage all of us to learn more and to share what we know and to move for change. So the words we sing are words we can say with full heart and gusto. This prayer by Adi Ama Karab. Creator of all, as believers in justice, woven into a single garment of our lives, making us one with the human family, let us rejoice for those who safely pass through the shades of night toward the daylight of freedom. Spirit of all possibilities and imagination, may we be blessed with true freedom, free of all oppressions. Spirit of hope, with grateful hearts, we lift our voices in shared solidarity, holding each other safe in the fire of justice and the light of love, this day, this Jubilee, and all days until it is true. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Okay, we will now raise the Juneteenth flag to the song Lift Every Voice and Sing, the Black National Anthem, performed by Mila Baptiste, Lily Curtis, and Tula Sullivan. I also welcome all the children if they want to come around here and help raise the flag. I know the mayor has invited them in the past. So any little guys want to come up? Or big ones? Sing, please. Sing. Go ahead and sing. I'm watching the film.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day.
till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughter, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I'd also like to point out that is a very difficult song to sing, so they did a really great job. Okay, we would like to now welcome Sid Rash, one of the co-founders of the Newburyport Black History Initiative, a past member of the Newburyport Education Foundation and former president of the Newburyport YWCA Board of Directors. Sid is a recently published author and currently serves on the board of the Coastal Trails Coalition, which supports our local rail trails. Let's welcome her.
Thank you all for coming today. The mission of the Newburyport Black History Initiative is to make our region's very illustrious history more representative by highlighting Newburyport's once vibrant Black heritage. In fact, the community of which Kabria spoke earlier had wonderful celebrations every summer, inviting families to visit, music, food, arts, and I'm kind of convinced it inspired Newburyport's Yankee homecoming. The initiative has installed 11 interpretive panels around the city of Newburyport, and if you would like a map, go to the YWCA table where we have postcard signed map as well as business cards, both of which have the QR code to the website where you can print a larger map that you can download. We're unveiling these signs each one at a time. And today, after the ceremony, we'll go right down Green Street, across the street. The sign is located pretty much across the street from the police station. And we are honored to remember today in a sign entitled, "Remember the Women Who Raised America," featuring Newburyport's own Caroline C. Cottrell, a domestic servant. Hope to see you later.
The sun's coming out. I think we're opening up the skies. Look at that. Okay. And now let's give a warm welcome to the rope burners. I'm excited for this. A competitive double Dutch team from Roxbury, led by coaches Angela Francis and Crystal Edwards. Well, thank you everyone for coming out today. Over here on in the corner there, the YWCA has games for the block party, and then across the street, there's some tents with some shops and some food if you'd like to purchase something or have a bite to eat. Again, thank you so much for coming out. It takes a lot of effort to show up, so thank you for showing up.